Today, we're going to talk about something you use literally every single day, but probably don't think twice about. We're going to pull back the curtain on one of mankind's most powerful and, well, most misunderstood inventions, an idea that secretly runs our entire world. So, let me ask you a question. What's humanity's single greatest invention? You know, the first thing that probably pops into your head is fire, right? For warmth, for protection. Or maybe the wheel. I mean, that's what drove all of commerce and travel. And yeah, those are great answers. But there's another contender, one we always seem to forget, that has shaped our civilization maybe more than anything else: money. But here's the twist, the part that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. Unlike those other inventions, money isn't real. Not in the same way. Fire is a chemical reaction, a wheel is a physical object you can hold. But money is just an idea. It's a story that we all collectively agree to believe in. And that really is the heart of what we're talking about today. One source puts it so well, calling money an illusion whose value is non-existent, determined only by our collective belief. Think about that. It's basically a shared hallucination that keeps the entire global economy running. Kind of wild, right? Now, look, just because it's an illusion doesn't mean it's not incredibly powerful. The fact that we all believe in it makes its impact on our lives very, very real. But here's the thing, that illusion is changing right now, right under our noses. And to get how, we first have to understand why we even needed it in the first place. So let's jump in a time machine. Let's go way back to a time before cash, before coins, before credit cards. The world ran on barter, a simple, direct trade of goods and services. Sounds fair, sounds easy, but in reality, it was a total mess. It was inefficient and honestly, often super unfair. Okay, this slide just nails the problem perfectly. Imagine you're a tent maker. You've spent weeks, maybe months, crafting this amazing, durable shelter. It's a high-value item. All you want in return is a simple pair of shoes. But the local shoemaker, he doesn't need a whole tent. So what do? How do you make that trade? There's this huge gap in value, and you, the tent maker, are pretty much guaranteed to get a raw deal. So yeah, barter was a disaster for a few key reasons. First, you had to find what economists call a double coincidence of wants. Someone who had exactly what you wanted and wanted exactly what you had. Good luck with that. There was no common ruler to measure value. And hey, think about a tomato farmer. Unlike the tent maker, he can't store his wealth. His tomatoes are gonna rot. Society desperately needed a better way. And this brings us to the very first breakthrough, something called commodity money. Instead of trading just anything for anything, people started using common, desirable items as a kind of placeholder for value, a middleman for every single transaction. And for a little while, this actually worked. People used things like salt, shells, even animal skins. But they all had a big problem. They weren't scarce enough. I mean, anyone could just go to the beach and get more shells. The real game changer came with metal. Around 770 BC, China started making these tiny bronze tools as a form of currency. Then, the big one. In 600 BC, King Alyattes of Lydia creates the world's first official mint, stamping out standardized coins from gold and silver. Now, this is so important to understand. Back then, money wasn't an illusion at all. It was real. A coin made from 1 gram of gold was worth exactly 1 gram of gold. It had real, tangible, intrinsic value because the metal itself was rare and valuable. You could literally melt it down and you'd still have the same amount of value. But rulers are clever, and they quickly realized that if you control the money, you control everything. And that realization, it sparked the Great Shift. This is the moment money began its long journey from being a physical thing of value to being just a shared belief, the birth of the illusion. So how'd they pull it off? Well, it was a pretty simple 4-step process. First, they started to debase the currency, secretly mixing in cheaper metals with the gold, but insisting the coin's value was the same. Then, they controlled the message, stamping their own face on it, basically declaring its value by force. Later, since carrying heavy coins was a pain, they issued paper IOUs, certificates you could trade in for gold. And then, the masterstroke. Over time, people just stopped bothering to trade in the paper. They just trusted it. The link to the actual metal was broken. And here's the craziest part. This exact same illusion, the one started by ancient kings, is the foundation of our entire modern financial system. The only real difference is the incredible scale and speed at which it all happens now. So the fancy term for the money we use today is fiat currency. Fiat is Latin for let it be done or by decree. This is money that has value simply because a government says it does. That's it. It's not backed by gold or silver or anything tangible. Its value comes from one thing and one thing only: our trust in the government that issues it. And that brings us to a number that shows you just how wild this modern illusion has gotten. In the wake of the 2020 pandemic, central banks started creating money at a rate nobody had ever seen before. The result? As of mid-2021, a mind-blowing 40% of all US dollars in existence had been created in just the previous 18 months. Almost half of all the money, just printed out of thin air. So, what happens when you create that much new money? Well, you've seen it. We've all felt it. The prices of everything start to go up. Sometimes it's huge and obvious, like the price of lumber tripling, and sometimes it's more subtle, like your guaca chipotle costing 20 cents more. But believe me, it is happening everywhere. This has a name. It's the unavoidable consequence. It's called inflation. It's simple, really. When the supply of money grows way faster than the supply of actual stuff to buy, each one of your dollars becomes less powerful. It can buy less than it could yesterday. Your money is actively losing value. Okay, so what in the world does this all mean for you? It means you have to understand the game that is being played with your money. Because whether you realize it or not, you are in the game. And surviving this illusion means you have to change your strategy. And if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. When new money is created, it doesn't just appear. It silently steals a tiny fraction of value from all the old money that's already out there. That number in your bank account might stay the same, but its purchasing power, what it can actually buy you, is constantly leaking away. So how do you protect yourself? How do you play the game to win? The source suggests a really simple two-step way of thinking. First, you have to understand that cash or currency is a tool for spending. It is not a place to store your wealth long-term. And second, you have to use that currency to buy assets, things that tend to grow in value faster than your money is losing value. That's it. That's the only way to stay ahead. Which leaves us with this one final, really critical question. We've gone from a world where money was tied to something real, something scarce like gold, to a world where it can be created in literally unlimited quantities with a few clicks on a keyboard. So if there is no limit to how much money can be made, what then is the limit to how much value it can lose? That's the great illusion we're all living inside of right now.